Hello and welcome to this episode of Truth and Tarot Time, where we have guests, guidance, and tarot wisdom. And as you can see, I have the amazing Lorraine Butterfield with me today, and I am super, super excited. Welcome, Lorraine.
Hi, Deborah. It's lovely to be here.
I
It's
was
been a long
just
time.
saying, yeah, I was just saying to Lorraine that it was so lovely to have her all to myself on the screen because usually I'm watching her on Facebook where she does, well, it used to be Mondays and Fridays, but now I think it's just Mondays, isn't it?
Yeah, I've stopped doing regular slots on a Monday. I come on when I feel I need to
Yeah.
come on. But if it is, it will be a Monday, and I do tarot and a little bit of guidance for the energies that are going on. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
a little bit less. I've stepped back a little bit more, and I think that's probably been because of the energies that we've been sitting in. I think there's a lot of people stepping back from social media, needing to integrate the downloads, what's coming in, all the new stuff that's coming in. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey.
It definitely has. And I was just saying off camera, wasn't I, how having sold the garden retreat, things, I'm sure it's because I'm also integrating these powerful energies that we've had for the
Yeah.
past few months. And it's not like we know exactly where we're going, but I don't know about you, Lorraine, but I'm feeling so excited about whatever is coming in
Yeah.
next. So
Yeah.
we're all,
It's definitely new stuff coming in
yeah.
for all of us,
And we
every
kind of
single
want to
one.
be free for it, don't we? There's a part of us
Yeah.
that wants to, we're freeing ourselves up to see. But it's good that you're still on Facebook occasionally then doing your readings, because that's where I first found you. And your readings are always so spot on. And I mean, it's been years actually, hasn't it? I mean, I was first watching you years. I remember the house I was in, which was our old house. So, yeah. And also, I was so inspired by your readings. I remember going out and buying the decks that you use, the energy deck and the psychic tarot deck and stuff like that. So yeah, so we've been friends on Facebook for a long time, and I have also had an Akashic record clearing session with Lorraine as well, which I highly recommend. But we'll talk more about all the lovely things that you have to offer. Let's do a little card reading, um, and we'll just see what is the wisdom for today, or what I like to ask the question, what does my soul want me to know? That's
Yeah.
always a wait. You see, you say that and they fall out. Absolutely loving it. Oh my goodness me. You're gonna love these as well. I'll go through what I'm getting and then I'm really excited to hear what you're going to say about them. The first one is the
Oh.
10 of Cups. And as we know, the 10 of Cups, you can tell from Lorraine's reaction there, the 10 of Cups comes after there's been a little bit of struggle or what have you, because of course it's a 10. It's at the end of the life experiences. The rays show spiritual guidance, and I want to say with the cups like this, it shows emotional fulfillment. Now we cannot escape the fact that there is a family here. Now, for some people that could be their tribe, but for a lot of people that will literally be their family, their nearest and dearest. This really resonates with me because, like I was saying, having sold the garden retreat, I'm back with the husband and the dog, and our family, focusing on, you've got daughters, I've got my son, and so we're focusing on the family and spending time and doing what we love and doing what we enjoy, doing what makes us happy. But there is a feeling of completion. So that integration that we've already mentioned, and I like to use the word embody because I think that's what we're doing,
Yeah.
embodying it all. There is a kind of a completion. There's a little message here about playing and having fun and just enjoying the countryside, which I know you do, Lorraine, because you go running,
Yeah,
walking with
absolutely.
your dog, who we did actually
Yeah.
just see walking behind you. So yeah, just walking out in nature with our dogs and stuff like that. So this is like the beautiful place that we find ourselves. That I want to
Yeah.
also, and I don't say this with the 10 of Cups, it's normally the 4 of Cups, but I'm getting an energy of gratitude as well, for this, for having this time, having the ability to free up our diaries a little bit, having the time to spend with our loved ones, our animals, and in nature. So that's
Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah.
because, just like you've just said, what's coming in? There is something coming in. And Now, what's interesting is inspiration is usually thought of as being a mental process, but the Ace of Wands is very much an inspiration card. But what it's referring to is not just the inspiration on a mental level. This is physical action in the physical world. So this is that inspiration that you cannot resist putting into action. So there is something beautiful. We know that the hand coming in from the cloud shows that it's coming from the divine. We know from these leaves that it's going to be something that brings us fruition. And there's going to be some beautiful growth from whatever this action is. And we also know, because it's fire, that it's something that's going to transform, it's going to be transforming us. And as we're in service to humanity, it's going to be transforming humanity. And it's that beautiful, you know, we do what we love, we work on ourselves, and we by working on others. It's a win-win situation, isn't it? It's the same
Yeah.
thing, working on ourselves and working on with humanity. It's the same thing, because when we raise our frequency, obviously we are the collective. We're not just a drop in the ocean, we're the whole ocean in one drop. So, yeah, there's something beautiful coming in. Now, that beautiful thing coming in, oh, it's so beautiful. It's
I
literally what
love
we've
this
just
card.
said.
Oh wow, I came the right day. Yeah.
Yeah, that beautiful energy coming in is firm foundations. It's a 4. It is like a portal. We've got the 11 and the 11 here,
Yeah.
and we're celebrating. We're making a commitment. Now, this obviously is the wedding card, but it doesn't mean that we're all going off getting married. It does mean that we're making a commitment. Now, what's interesting about this commitment, sometimes people are like commitment phobes or whatever. But this is actually a commitment to ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, typically, this card, I would say, is two people coming together in order to create something new. So for light workers, we're coming together, like what we're doing now is creating something for the benefit of all, but also not forgetting that this commitment is commitment to ourselves and to our journey.
Yeah.
Castles in tarot, of course, represent our goals in life. And very often in tarot, those castles are in the background. I think that's a little castle in the background there.
Yeah.
Um, showing that our goals are kind of in the distance. But here you can see they are celebrating right in front of the castle, showing that we are our goal in life. It's perfect. Yeah, especially like I said before, those rocking it for humanity. There's firm foundations there. This is, I think, the new earth coming, and the new paradigm, whatever you want to call it, the new way of living. It's beautiful. It's transformational. It's like a portal that we're walking through. We are the portal, aren't we?
Yeah.
There's so much to say about this card.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so exciting. And it just seems to be saying exactly what we were saying before. What do you think, Lorraine?
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, we are in that portal between two eclipses, right? Where we're gonna get, and that Ace of Wands for me is vitality. It's your energy right up there, ready to take action, do things. Interesting. For some people, that might indicate a new family home, because we've got the Ten of Cups and the Four of Wands there, which is going to be new and exciting with the Ace of Wands there. But I think not everyone is going to be moving this, and I agree. I think the focus for the last good couple of months has been on family, home, feeling secure in your home, seeing the joy in your home and your family. And maybe for some of you, maybe there's been challenges around family, and that is now going to ease as we move out of this eclipse season. And there'll be a new excitement, there'll be a new energy there. It's also everything aligning. The Ten of Cups, everything's aligning. Suddenly we've let go of what wasn't. Maybe it felt challenging, maybe you felt like you were swimming upstream, but suddenly everything feels easy. The doors are opening and you're moving through them, and that's the real way to look at that. It's so beautiful.
Isn't
What
it? And also, you
three
just made
beautiful
me think when
cards.
you said aligning, because of course it's not something I would say with the Ten of Cups, but this is why it's so beautiful to have these intuitive triggers, isn't it? Because astrologically, there has been planets lining up.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so this literally can relate to that as well.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, I think that's spot on.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. So beautiful. I love that energy. And I think for anyone that has been having challenges, just know that at last the doors are opening, and probably be around that full moon eclipse. The doors will open, you'll be able to see your way through. And if anyone is trying to move and they're sorry, I know I keep going back to this, but I feel like there might be a message here. If somebody has been waiting to hear about moving dates, suddenly that gets released and then they can move forward. And whether that's moving house, moving career, moving country, whatever that movement is, suddenly, if you've been on hold, that will move forward. So it's nice. I love it.
Yeah. And does it resonate with you on a personal level?
Yes, because I'm bringing in a new program. We were just talking about this, the Akashic Menopause program, and I'm launching it ready for a September start. So yes, it absolutely fits in with suddenly the momentum is going to build, and so
And be
yes, it does.
transformational. And
Yeah.
and it's the first time you've done this. It's a new program for you.
I ran this program last year, and uh and it was transformational. I ran it last year for a very small group of ladies who came back and went, oh, I've started losing weight. The hot flushes of, because we're talking about menopause, the hot flushes have reduced. I'm sleeping through the night. I'm like, so I have taken everything that has been said and I have packaged it into this beautiful program that, like I said, it's launched already. It starts on the 10th of September. And it will be, it's going to be a program where you have to be involved in it,
Hmm.
where it's not just about me doing Akashic record clearance, and we'll talk about that in a minute. It's not just me about doing the clearance. It's a different way of approaching symptoms and seeing that physical symptoms are giving you signs. Yeah, your body's talking to you the whole time. And sometimes we have to do something physical, maybe change our diet, maybe change our exercise routine. But there is that spiritual side that we also, we have to embody all of those elements. And very often, what I'm finding, particularly when I ran it last year, was the amount of women that were holding on to shame, guilt, um, suffering, and not feeling worthy, which has been my journey, Deborah. I mean, when you first connected with me, my journey to self-love, which is my book, and my
I'll
book's
put a
available.
link in the description to your
Yeah,
book and to
yeah,
your course and to your website and everything.
yeah. So, it's been the journey to self-love continues in menopause, and that has been so that's been my thing, because I was like, why are they I've had this calling for about 2 or 3 years, probably longer than that, actually, because I think I wrote a blog about it about 5 years ago, where spirit kept saying you need to work with menopause, and I was actually going through menopause at the time, and I was going, no, I'm going to sweep that under the carpet. It doesn't exist. It's not happening to me. Boom, boom, boom. And then suddenly I woke up and realized it was happening to me. And, and it felt like struggle. Menopause felt like struggle. And I went, oh, no, 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 we can't have this.
Yeah.
Why is the what? I can't be having this. What's going on here? And so that's what led me down the path to work with it, and to realize that, that menopause is not, I think people seem to think it's like some sort of illness or disease, and it's not.
Exactly. It's
It isn't.
not.
It's a
I see it as a
transition.
gateway to wisdom.
Yeah, it is a gateway to wisdom. It's absolutely that. It's we're changing. And with that change comes, and I know we're talking about this slowing down process at the moment that's going on. It's going on for everyone. But actually that's sort of what the menopause is doing. It's going
Yeah.
slow up. Think about all those things you've been holding on to that have been heavy, are you ready to let them go? You know, the suffering, the guilt, the shame, the feeling unloved, whatever it is that's going, they're not worthy. And not worthy is a big one, by the way,
Yeah.
in menopause. You know, like my feelings on the way I feel doesn't feel important to anyone else, so I hide it. So many women hide it.
Yeah.
So many women are ashamed when they get a hot flush, they go, you know, and they're like so
And I
embarrassed.
think that's a really important point because um, my memory, because it is a memory now of menopause, I had this realization rather than some people like curse it and fear it, and I'm like, well, that's not the way to go into anything, is it?
No.
Because our expectations and our beliefs around things are literally how they're going to come into form.
Yeah.
But one thing I did remember was and this, I think, is something that needs to change because we were growing up in the old paradigm, which was, had a lot of toxic masculine, authority over it. And, having to go to work with your periods and just pretend that you had no discomfort or,
Yeah.
you don't mention it
Yeah.
and competing in like the male dominant world or what have you, and pretending that these periods didn't exist and that they were something wrong or bad.
Hmm.
And then I just realized it was like that whole time, because we were brought up in that energy, we weren't honoring
The
our
feminine.
feminine
No,
energy. And there are cultures, that honor the woman at that time,
they do.
and
There's a lot
allow
of
her
tribes.
extra
There's a lot of
time.
tribes. It's a beautiful, you know, and then the
Exactly.
woman becomes the sage. You know, she becomes
Exactly.
the matriarch who everyone looks up to.
Well, the other thing is, there was all this energy around, oh, she's going to be ratty because she's got her period, right?
Mm.
And then that would wind us up or wind me up. And I'm looking back thinking, no, she was tired
Yeah,
and she needed rest. And
yeah,
she needed to respect her feminine body.
yeah.
Because if we respect ourselves, we know that the outside has to respect us. But we were so programmed,
Mm.
to bury it all under the carpet, like you said.
Yeah,
And so for me, this was a really important point. It's respecting ourselves. The rattiness just comes from pushing yourself in a male
beyond.
dominant
Yeah.
paradigm when you're tired and your body needs rest.
Mm.
So all of this came to me during menopause, and I decided, no, I'm not going to be afraid of anything. This is about honoring my body, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual,
Yeah.
and honoring being a woman because I'm not sure I'd kind of done that before. And one of the ways that I personally did that was just loving being my husband's wife and loving being my son's mother. I was like, these are my two favorite relationships, and I couldn't be either of them if I wasn't a woman. So I
Well, I think
really
that's,
started
you can
honoring myself.
understand, can't you, Deborah? You can understand why, you know, I mean, it's a big thing now. Menopause is being more talked about, but more from people are looking for supplements and medical
Yeah,
solutions. And actually, it's a spiritual journey. It's a process, and there is a different way to look at it.
yeah,
But can you imagine there are all these women that have suppressed their divine
yeah,
feminine, that have been they've been working mainly in their masculine, and that's who I deal with, you know, and I'm guilty of that. I was a
yeah,
lot in my masculine. I'm a single parent, brought up three children on my own. And so I've had to be the man and the woman, but mainly in the male energy.
yeah,
So we are all and not honoring that feminine. Like I said, I was super. I'm taking control. I'm the
yeah.
man in this family energy, and so you know, and I meet a lot of women that do exactly the same, and so there are many years of programming
Mm.
that when we go into the Akashic records, we can unravel and release. And it's such a beautiful process. We work with the guides, we work with the angels, we work with other beings that want to come in. A lot of my work recently, we've had Jesus come in, and and I say this not lightheartedly, lots of biblical references to where even belief started. I mean, I worked with one lady and I was like, oh my, I've got this man here, he's got a shepherd crook, he's got a shepherd hat. And then I realized it was Moses. And I, he told me I couldn't work out who it was because I was like, who is this guide that's come in? So, even in those times, it was taking us back to unprogram those days where we may have been a male energy in past
Yeah.
lives, and we've taken it on and brought it into this life.
And also, yeah, and how things have been interpreted. It's interesting. You're making me think of so I had this Lebanese friend, and he was telling me that when a woman had her period, he was brought up not to touch her. And it was interesting because
Hmm.
it originated in in when it was said don't touch her, it was more like don't put pressure on her to have sexual intercourse or what have you.
Ah,
It was
okay.
leave her alone to originally, and all these things like you referred to the Bible, originally all these things come from the right place, don't they?
But they get
So
misinterpreted.
so I think that idea was lovely. It's like don't put pressure on her and let her be, but it had been programmed, it had kind of got skew whiffed because his generation were taught that it was unclean and that
Oh, that's
you
interesting.
don't touch your woman when she's got her period because it's unclean. And so it had kind of done a full kind of flip.
Yeah.
But really it started off,
A lot of the Arabic countries interpret it as that as well.
yeah.
I know from having
But
traveled a lot.
originally, it's coming from a place of respect, as in leave her
Yeah.
alone and let her rest and
Funny
honor
how it
her
gets.
and, all of that. So, but that's just another sign of different cultures, how they're
Yeah.
also have gone through that, dominant masculine energy, haven't they, before they
Yeah.
can come back
And yet
into,
still we have tribes around that honor it. It's so interesting, isn't it? Because they haven't lost the interpretation. I wonder what that is about modern day where we misinterpret. Maybe we're just not listening, because it's interesting because when tribes pass stuff down, there is a full understanding. But in modern day society, when things get handed down, a snippet gets taken. It's so interesting, isn't it? It's so interesting. But, and that's exactly, I suppose, the menopause journey, because it is a journey. It's not an illness. It's not a condition. It's a process that we go through, and we
it's a
need to.
portal that
It
we
is.
go through.
It
And
is.
and it's beautiful because it is a journey, and it doesn't have to be a struggle. It's like life. Life is a
Yeah.
journey, and life doesn't have to be a struggle, does it?
But
When you
struggle
have the
is,
right
yeah,
mindset and the
yeah,
right tool. So your program sounds perfect because it's focusing on any of these trapped emotions, or
yes,
whether it be
absolutely.
guilt, shame, all of this that
Yeah.
isn't
The
really ours,
beliefs, the beliefs
and the
that come with
beliefs,
it.
yeah, the
Yeah.
beliefs that it's going to be difficult, or the beliefs that I need outside help, as in hormonal treatment or supplements or
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
like that,
absolutely.
within, really it's about going within, and
Us,
that's where you help people.
everything we need to be is within
Yeah,
us, you know, and I'm not saying don't take some, if it's part of your journey and you feel that it helps you, and I say this openly, if you feel something helps you, then it's a good thing, okay, right? Because you've obviously got a belief around it will help you.
Mm.
Um,
Or you can sway test it, of course. Everyone knows that I'm a
yeah.
big fan of sway testing. So
I,
sway test the supplement, sway test,
yeah,
the
I muscle
hormones.
test.
Exactly. So then
So
if you test positive, then obviously your body wants
yeah,
it.
take it. I mean, I do take supplements, but I feel that
Yes.
that's what I need. I don't take masses. I went through a stage. I went and I did exactly what everyone else does, and I went, maybe I need this, maybe I need that.
Yeah.
I didn't actually, to be fair, I knew what I was going through, so I didn't approach the GP because I knew I didn't want to go down that route. However, I do know that, the first thing people do is go to the GP, and the GP starts saying, oh, let's write you a prescription. Now, it's not my choice. That wouldn't be my choice of the route to go, but I know people do go down there, and like I say, if it makes you feel better and you feel better with it, then that's your choice. Um, but I started going, oh, and I had this whole collection, and I suddenly one day went, I'm forgetting the one important thing.
Yeah.
Do I really need this whole collection of things? No, I need to look within. I need to look with the programs, the beliefs, what's going on within me that I feel I need, because it's an I need. I'm looking outside of me for a solution. The solution's within.
But you've
And so
also
you
mentioned
do,
that it's a spiritual journey. This
yeah,
journey, yes, it's a physical journey, of course, but it's also the way I look at it is it's the end of your right. There's a lot of grief as well. I
yeah, there
remember
is a
feeling
lot of
grief
grief.
because, although I
Yeah,
didn't want any more children, um, and there is a relief
yeah.
about not having to take precautions and things. So, but there is a grief as in before it was my choice not to have any more children,
And
whereas
now you
now
don't have that
that choice
choice.
is being taken away from me. So there
Yeah,
is grief there to be honored.
there is.
But
Yeah.
having said that, um, I was affirming the whole time, I am embracing the change. I am
Yeah.
embracing the change and understanding that if I can't give birth to a human anymore, what is it that I am going to give birth to?
Yeah.
Because
You've got to use
I
that creative energy somewhere, haven't you?
exactly. My first book came out then, and then my second book, and as you know, my third. So we are still giving birth. It's just that
Yes.
we're not giving birth to little humans anymore. And now
Because
collectively,
that sacral energy, which is what we're talking about
yes,
really,
of
the
course.
lower tummy, the sacral energy is our creation, is our passion. And when we are not using it to create little
Babies.
humans, we can use it then to be more creative in in how we express ourselves in other ways. And
But
it's
also
beautiful.
collectively, we're giving birth to the new earth.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
how I like to see it.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And anything you can give back, because that's what you're doing, you're giving back your energy, you're helping others see that there's a different way. And I think that's what I like about this Akashic Menopause program. It's like, have you thought about looking at it in a different way? I think there's so much media around it being, like I said, people thrusting different products at you. Maybe actually it's time to step back and say, well, actually, there's something within me that's shifting and changing, and I need to look at what I need to let go of now. I don't want all this heavy energy moving forward. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I just think it's a really unique perspective. And especially using the Akashic records, and for that, I might explain the Akashic records actually while I'm talking about it. So the Akashic records is an ethereal realm we access through via meditation, and it's a gateway into what I call the Akashic Library. I'm not the only one. I know it's not it's something I learned and have developed. And we enter in to access what we call your book of life. So every soul has a book of life. Every soul that's ever existed, whether on this plane, on a different plane, and it's vast. It's an energetic library. We access it. We access the programs. We access what we need to clear, what we've brought from lifetime to lifetime, because I do believe in reincarnation. And when we enter, we meet with our guides, with the archangels, the angel. I mean, it's such a beautiful space to be. And if I could be there all the time, I would. Because it's just so beautiful. And yeah, and that's what we do. We're entering into that. We're accessing your personal book. We're looking at the programs, we're releasing them. Sometimes I get shown lifetime. Sometimes when I'm working with people, they go, oh, I can see this, and this. But I do try and get people to disassociate, because it's about letting go of identity, really. It's about letting go of an old skin, an old part of you that identified a certain way. And what we're trying to do when we're going into the Akashic Records, and it is very powerful, um, is let go of that identity. Is to bring you back into who you truly are, which is a light being. You came here to shine your light. But obviously the physical reality is that you have to deal with the challenges. Always, some people seem to come in and they don't have the challenge. We all have different challenges, and what might feel challenging to us might feel like not a challenge to others. So it's different. We have to remember we're all unique and individual, but we may be holding similar beliefs made from different circumstances. And I think that's the beautiful thing about the Akashic Records. It shows you such a large range and vastness of those challenges and programs, and you're like, wow, it's just incredible, really. Just
And
incredible.
yeah, I mean, I work with the Akashic Records as well, as you know, with the soul realignment work. But actually, I mean, we talked about muscle testing. You've just said that, as a muscle tester, we're we're actually talking to the Akashic Records when we're muscle testing, right? I
Yeah,
mean, it's
yeah,
interesting because when I first like share the sway test, which is like I always think the first step because it's the clearest. This one takes a little bit more practice. It's easy for people to think that they're communicating with their body, which of course they are in some way, but we're all connected. And
yeah,
then when you do like with the emotion code, as you know, I use the emotion code and I use muscle testing, and there they refer to us communicating with the subconscious. So we're
yeah,
communicating with the subconscious mind. But then when you get into the soul level work, which we do, they refer to the fact that we're communicating with the Akashic records. But actually, whenever we muscle test, we are communicating with the field. I mean, the Akashic records
yeah,
being
yeah. The
the
whole, yeah,
field of consciousness. So this is why I love helping people gain confidence in muscle testing, and of
yeah,
course dowsing as well. But I
yeah,
always think muscle testing's better because you've always got your fingers with you.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah,
but that
yeah.
way you can, you've got, because with the communication, I mean, we're talking about doing readings in the Akashic records. So, but how you use a dowser as well, don't you?
No,
You
I
use a
don't
muscle
dose.
testing.
I muscle test
Yeah.
the
So
whole
your
time.
questions that you're asking in the Akashic records, you're muscle testing the
Yeah,
answers and everything. Yeah.
yeah,
So that's
yeah,
why muscle testing is just such a powerful skill, I think,
yeah.
technique to learn.
Yeah, I have
Um,
dozed. I have used pendulum before, but I think with pendulum, you need specific pendulum. I think and I'm not qualified enough to talk about pendulums as such. But I know that a friend of mine does, and she uses an ISIS,
mm.
proper pendulum and stuff like that. I suppose as long as you're tuned into your pendulum and
Well,
you
exactly. And I think it's interesting because I had already learned to muscle test, having done the emotion code and the Psych K. And when I studied the soul realignment, they use a pendulum. And so I was really excited. I went to buy a new pendulum because I had used it in the past with crystals, and stuff.
yeah,
And I was just going to program it. And I just got this download that said, "You're a muscle tester. You're a
Yeah.
muscle tester."
I think
And
you just
and
know which
so
way you're going to go.
I'm not very good with a pendulum. I like them, but when I teach the sway test, and of course some people do, very few, but I have had people that have struggled with the sway test to get a clear answer,
Yeah.
and they've been the people who I have dowsers for them to practice with, and they usually bond with dowsing. So I
That's
think
so interesting.
yeah, it's a personal thing. As to so we're obviously muscle testers. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It's just something. And when I teach Akashic Records, I teach them muscle testing because it's been the thing I've used. So I think you have to just I say to people, it's not that you shouldn't learn. I try and use it and I go, no, it's just not for me. Just I stick in my lane of where I know I am
Yeah.
confident.
But it's good because it's empowering other people. I mean, if you think
Yeah,
about what we can do with the muscle testing, I mean,
yeah,
it starts off with, like you said before, um, diet. You know, when you're looking at menopause and how to, have a healthier, more
yeah,
vibrant menopause.
absolutely.
You know, your diet and your exercise and all of these things, and all of these things we can check as well with the muscle testing, can't we?
Yeah,
As
absolutely.
well as the trapped emotions, limiting beliefs, and
Yeah.
going on into the deeper stuff
Yeah. And
too.
I think the important thing, and then I go back to this because I used to do, well, I still do it, EFT matrix reimprinting, so the
Yeah,
tapping and the stepping in, but and stepping into memories to take trauma out and um I think we have to remember that we are what we believe.
yeah.
And so your reality is being created by what you're feeling. So you need to try and if you're feeling a little bit down, catch yourself and go, no, I'm going to raise my vibration. Sometimes it's difficult because we're going through stuff. Yeah. When you mentioned grief earlier, when I first realized I was going through menopause, my dad had just died. So I was going through grief as well. So I couldn't cope with menopause at that point. The grief was just too much. And I was managing business, children, dogs, and at that point we had to move home as well. So there was all sorts of things going on. And so, you know, with the grief came I sort of the grief came along, the menopause came along, we had to move home, and it was like I was spiraling, and that's how I felt. And I went, stop and breathe. And I just need to be gentle with myself, and I just need to acknowledge this is what I'm going through, and it's okay. It was really weird because I delayed my grief by about 3 months. I think my dad died in the October, and it was the Christmas when I eventually stopped working that it went. And we had just moved at that point, but it was just I then needed to acknowledge grief and what was going on
We
there.
can
And
only hold it off for so long, can't
you
we?
can, you can. It's a process, it is a process, and some people delay it, and some people never acknowledge it, and
No.
they will carry it.
Well, yes, but then that energy,
Yeah, can
is,
you imagine carrying that?
well, it's that I've said it so many times, but it's so true and fitting. Um, Bernie Siegel in his book Love, Medicine, and Miracles, where he says, if you have an emotional trauma, you're going to grow. Whether you grow spiritually or whether you grow a tumor, the choice is yours. And
Yeah,
it's really
absolutely.
harsh,
Yeah, I
but
totally.
it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, because if you hold on to it, there will be a physical representation of it.
It has to
Um,
manifest somewhere. It has to go somewhere.
yeah.
And
I
which
tell you,
part of
I
the
tell you a little
body?
story about that as well, because do you know Dr. Bruce Lipton? Yeah,
Hmm.
and I met Bruce a few years ago at an EFT conference, and he's such a lovely man. But he has just, and I this is incredible. I didn't even know he was going through it. So the last 18 months he has spent healing because
Yeah,
he grew a tumor on his throat where he couldn't speak. Now he's a speaker. That's
yeah,
what he does. He goes around the world speaking and all it was, he went to the doctor and they went, yeah, it's a cancerous tumor. We're going to have to do XYZ chemo, whatever. And he went, oh, no, I need to go away and look at what beliefs I've got. And my doctor went, right, okay. So he spent 18 months with 6 different practitioners to do different things to heal this tumor. And it's gone.
Yeah.
And what it was for him was he had this idea about this book, about evolution, that he felt he couldn't speak about because he was challenging the Darwin theory. And he held it. He's like,
Yeah.
I can't talk about that. I can't talk about it. And the I can't talk about it turned into this tumor anyway, to the point where he actually
Exactly.
couldn't speak. So he manifested that. And I think that's a brilliant example of how we manifest our beliefs.
Yes, and the funny enough, I heard him recently talking in the Heart Coherence Collaborative Community, where I share my stuff in there, and I'll put a link in the description to anyone that wants to join that. They do a free 2-week trial or something, so people can pop in and see. But anyway, he was talking in that community only a couple of weeks ago, and because he's a big fan of the Psyche and a lot
Yeah,
of the work that we do, of course,
yeah,
with the beliefs. And but he said, yeah, he thought he couldn't speak. And then he said, so because I couldn't speak, I wrote.
yes,
And he wrote the book Beyond Darwin.
yeah. It's coming
And
out this
he
week.
said that as he wrote that book, that was the final part of his healing.
Release. Yeah,
Was getting it out. And I thought that was so relevant because you'll know as well from your book, The Journey to Self-Love, how therapeutic it is and
yeah.
how we actually write these books for our own benefit. I mean,
We do. It's very cathartic.
I've
I
talked
mean,
about the awakening I had during writing Lessons in Awakening. I mean, I got to like the second to last chapter and had my own amazing awakening.
yeah,
And so it is about us. We are the project, aren't we? The books just help
yes,
us heal us. And Bruce Lipton's the same. Writing his
yeah,
book Beyond Darwin helped him finally heal, what was blocking
yeah,
him. So he's a
yeah.
very good
No,
example, isn't he,
yeah,
of how this all works.
absolutely. That's a perfect example of how we manifest our reality. In fact, when I wrote my book, it took me about 6 years to write my book because every time, so it's a very personal journey about how I came through um, a marriage that was abusive and how I got there and how I got out. And it's very personal because obviously my children, I talk about my children in there. And so every time I wrote about something, it all came rushing back and I went, right, now I need to work with that because it's brought up all the emotion of that. I need to get rid of that trigger energy that, how it made me feel at the time. And so, and for anyone that's been through an abusive relationship, or is in one and wants to find a way out, it's I hope it would help you. So, if you feel like you need to read the book, please do. But yeah, for me, every part of it, I'm right now I've got to heal that and I've got to, so 6 years of writing, rewriting, releasing for me. So it was my therapy in a book. And then when I released it, I remember feeling very vulnerable because it's a personal story and having to overcome that vulnerability. And I remember my dad saying, "Oh, some of the timelines aren't right." And I went, "It's not about that. It's not about that. It, it's about the fact that I wrote it as a story to inspire others to walk away
Yeah.
from situations that are all dangerous and not for their highest good.
Yeah.
And so, and have the strength to walk away because so many women are, well, and there are men as well. I'm not just saying it's about, women walking away from abusive. There are men as well that need to feel the self-love and walk away. And it's hard.
Yeah, no, I mean it is definitely hard, and I mean I've got talk about it in the chapter in here about forgiveness because I was also in the same situation. And um, but now I look back and I just think, well, forgiveness is one of the most powerful spiritual lessons in
Yes,
life. And he
yes.
gave me someone to forgive. So that
Yes,
was perfect.
so true.
But
It's
then to
so
be honest,
true.
yeah,
I
when
see, I see, Deborah. It's so funny when I say to my clients, "Oh, and okay, this is about forgiveness," and they go, and their face is like a picture, and I'm like, "It's for you, not for them. It's for you, because you don't want to be carrying." I always say, I am grateful for everything that my life has shown me and the path it's taken on, because it's always taken me somewhere
Of
wonderful.
course, but also on a soul level, we have chosen our suffering.
Yeah,
We've
yeah,
chosen it so that we will grow and learn. And one of
yeah.
the things that I did, and it is a journey
Mm,
because, it starts off with he's wrong, I'm right, he's bad, I'm good. He's the perpetrator, I'm the victim. And then I was like, hang on, I don't want to, I'm not good, I don't want to be a victim. I'm the
no,
creator of my own reality. And then I had an aha moment. I was like, hang on a minute, I created that.
yeah,
And then I had a really big aha moment when I realized that everything is a reflection. Everything outside of us that we're perceiving in our holographic projection that we're calling life is a vibrational match. So
yeah,
somewhere along the line, he was reflecting back to me my lack of
absolutely.
self-love.
Yeah,
And that gave me an aha moment. And then I thought, oh my God, I've got to forgive myself. And
yeah,
then I went into that Rumi quote that says, there is a field beyond right and wrong. I'll meet you there. And I thought, hang on, let's go beyond, because the whole concept of forgiveness is someone was right and someone was wrong. And I
mm,
thought, let's go to that field beyond right and wrong, where you realize that the souls have chosen their experiences for the
mm,
purpose of learning and growing.
yeah,
It's like the
absolutely.
quote we've just said. We want the emotional trauma because
No,
we want the opportunity to grow spiritually,
yeah,
because that's what it's all about.
yeah.
So when you see it from that perspective, you can then look back with a heart full of love and gratitude, which I have
I do think that most of the spiritual people that are teaching have had to experience the challenge. I
for
believe that you have to experience the challenge to be able to teach it. I do really believe that. I think if you're teaching from a place of never having experienced it, you can't.
Well, I think you have to have experienced challenge in itself,
Yeah,
but I don't think any two people's suffering is the same. So
no,
it's going to be
no. Oh
difficult
no, it's never the
to
same. It's
experience it
just
exactly the same.
you have to have that experience. You have to have experienced something, even if it's like one of my clients had a near-death experience,
Mm,
and and I keep telling her to write a book, keep telling her to write a book, um, because it's made her grateful for all the things that are in her life now.
of course.
Yeah, so it's an interesting
But
thing, but
also, some of the most of the great teachers have had actually the most suffering. And I
yeah,
think that's because, on a soul level, they know that we heal the collective when we heal ourselves. Back to what we said in the beginning, we are the
yeah,
whole
we are,
ocean in one
we
drop.
are.
So we're
It's the
not just a
ripple.
human being in the universe, we're the whole universe in one human being. So when we heal ourselves, we are healing the collective. And because we came here at this time of the Great Awakening to help raise the consciousness level of the collective, then the older, wiser souls or what have you, actually, you know, maybe biting off more than they can chew sometimes, but
Yeah,
are choosing more suffering, knowing that they're going to have a greater impact through the healing process. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think it is
It's
quite.
an interesting process, isn't it? But certainly, um, I can honestly say, I mean, I know my children look at me sometimes and they think, oh, here you go, Mummy, here she goes. But I've realized that my girls have grown up to be very discerning. It's so interesting. They're a lot wiser than I was at their age.
Yes. My son is as well. Yeah, I say that about my
And
son.
I don't get me wrong, they have their own challenges, but they definitely see patterns and behaviors in people that I wouldn't have seen at their age.
Oh,
And
interesting.
that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Wow, it's honestly it's such a joy talking to you, Lorraine. We could go on for ages. I know we could. But I'm just keeping an eye all the time as well. Thank you so much
You're
for
very
joining
welcome.
me today. We had no idea what direction the conversation was going to go, and I think it was perfect the way it went.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much. So, is there anything you want to say or share before we say
Um,
goodbye?
I suppose just, if you're interested in what I have to say and the work that I do, or if you're interested in the Akashic Menopause program, I know Deborah will put the links down below. And obviously you can find me on Facebook, Lorraine Butterfield, or I've got a website, lorrainebutterfield.com, where you can read about the different work that I do. So yeah,
And
so
I
thank you.
highly
Oh, and my
recommend
book is on
Lorraine's work.
Amazon.
Yes, I highly recommend Lorraine's work. I've worked with her before and
Thank
I
you,
followed
Deborah.
her on Facebook and her readings and her intuitive downloads and everything. So, and you can see for yourself from today how lovely and wonderful she is. Thank you so much. And what
Brilliant.
beautiful cards we have. Yes,
Yeah,
happy families.
absolutely.
Spending time in doing what we love, and something new is and exciting is coming in, and it is about commitment to self, firm foundations, and co-creating something beautiful together. So probably won't be human babies, but co-creating books, courses, and the new earth.
Yeah,
So I think I think that's beautiful. Thank you so much, Lorraine, and
you're
thank you to
welcome,
anyone
Deborah.
that got to the end of the video. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.